So according to a new report, President Biden has a new plan to help more than 44 million people here in the United States. And I want to get to what is happening coming up in this video. First off, all I ask is if you can spend just 2 seconds, go ahead, hit that like button on this video. It really does help out the channel, and let's get started. So first off, here's something that I hear all the time. Stop giving money to other countries. Take care of our own people. That is one of the things people continue to tell me. Stop wasting taxpayer dollars by providing assistance to those that don't even need it, because we are wasting that money. Now, we don't have the luxury to waste any type of taxpayer dollars, whether it's $1 billion or $100 billion. So, where do we go from here? Well, this is where the reports are now indicating that President Biden is going to help. That help is on the way. But how? Well, here's what I can tell you. Right now, there are actually talks within the White House that there is a new bill that is coming that is going to provide additional funding for Ukraine. Now, you're probably thinking, didn't you just say help is coming? And didn't you just say we have to stop giving away taxpayer dollars to other countries? Yes and yes. But here's what we know. The Biden administration believes that the war on Ukraine could be close to being over, but only if countries continue to assist Ukraine in this time. They say Russia is running out of manpower and their arsenal is getting weaker. As a result, the Pentagon believes we're almost out of this mess. So if we can get rid of this war on Ukraine, we can get out from underneath this. The good news is it's going to help with inflation. It's going to help just the country in general, right? And it's going to help the world. So the world is going to be in a better place once this war is over. Of course, right? Probably think that's a no-brainer. We knew that. But here's something else. We need to talk about other support. Because if we can continue to provide support to Ukraine or whoever, obviously it's going to help. But how do we help the people here in the United States? Well, this is what lawmakers are currently going over. This is where many are trying to fight for additional tax cuts. That's what Republicans are going for. Then you got Democrats who want to make sure that SNAP benefits is still there. Social Security gets addressed. That we provide student loan forgiveness. These are all things that they're discussing, okay? But here's where things start to get very interesting. There's likely going to be a bill to provide additional relief to Ukraine. That's something that we are almost expecting. And I know I just said, can we keep giving money to Ukraine? No. But are we going to? Yes. We will continue to give money to Ukraine. But here's something that you need to keep in mind. If we get out of this war between Russia and Ukraine, guess what? It's going to benefit our economy. And so this is what Democrats are planning. Democrats are planning at this time that, okay, the next bill, we are going to provide additional relief to Ukraine. At the same time, we know Republicans are demanding certain things, like tax cuts. Well, we could potentially jump on board with their tax cuts if they let us provide additional relief to Ukraine. And we do something for student loan borrowers. Why? Because if the student loan debts are paid off, according to the Federal Reserve, over 57% of those people will then take that money that they're saving and start paying off other debts. These are car loans, credit cards, homes, and things like that. So I will get to that in just a second. But because of all this that's going on right now, because of President Biden wanting to pass additional legislation for Ukraine, there is going to be other things that are tied to that bill. It will not be a clean bill for Ukraine. Now, President Biden understands he is not going to get, or most likely not going to get, student loan forgiveness. That's probably not going to happen. But according to reports just this past week, President Biden is pushing to get legislation passed that would make it easier for his administration to forgive additional student loan debt. And you've probably seen this over the past couple years where President Biden comes out and he says, oh, we're gonna provide $7 billion of student loan debt or student loan forgiveness. These people will be forgiven. These debts will be gone. And it's because of that, and because of the other fact that there's a very slim chance student loan forgiveness of $20,000 per borrower is even going to happen on a federal level. This is why President Biden and the Biden administration are stepping forward, trying to do something different, take a roundabout approach to do the exact same thing. But why? Well, why would President Biden push to get legislation that would make it easier to get out of student debt? It's simple. Student loan debt is becoming a major problem, and it's becoming such a big problem, and the average payment of over $400 per month is actually consuming the majority of Americans' available income, that they cannot make these payments for their rent, for their utilities, for food and things like that. And if they could, then maybe we don't need additional SNAP benefits. Maybe we don't need to provide additional affordable housing and things like that. So again, by paying off some of this debt, it could actually help others. But just like with Social Security, and let me just break this down for a second. According to reports, we simply cannot tax a certain group of people, aka the wealthy, and make them pay for pretty much able-bodied people to get out of debt. Because, and they say that planning this is going to take a little bit of time, but executing this is going to take years. We have to figure out a way to allow student borrowers to get out of debt faster without actually having to make the payments for them. So here's what we are hearing at this point. According to experts on both sides of the aisle, they say the problem isn't that people signed up for this debt. The problem is how this debt gets repaid. Let me just give you an example for a second. Let's just use $40,000, okay? And I just want to use $40,000. It's a pretty round number, pretty basic. A $40,000 student loan, that if that's what you borrowed to go to college, it would probably balloon up to about $45,000 after graduation and your grace period. Okay, it might be a little bit more than that, but I'm just using $45,000. So you'd be paying an additional $5,000 after graduation. In total, you would, for a 40 to 50 year loan, you're probably going to be paying this off for 20 to 25 years. Okay, 25 years, $40,000. You're probably looking at about, I'd say, at least a $500 payment. Okay, $500 to $550 every single month. That's what you're gonna have to pay. That means, let's say it's $550. You're looking about over $20,000 in interest. Probably about $24,000 to $25,000 in interest after 25 years of making a payment of between $500 and $550 every single month. About $25,000 in interest. That's what you're going to pay. Now, based on a recent statement from White House aides, they say student loans will be reformed. That's the one thing that they can guarantee, is that they are going to make it easier for borrowers to pay off these loans. Because anybody can sign up for one. Anybody can potentially go to college. But how difficult is it for you to pay that back? Especially if you're not even using that degree that you earned, right? Now, I was looking at a bunch of different student loan stuff today. I was looking at some stuff from the Federal Reserve, and the Federal Reserve recently came out with a survey. And in this survey about student loan borrowers, they asked, what would people do if their debt was completely forgiven? So anywhere between $10,000 and $20,000. Well, the majority of people said that they would use that savings to pay off other debts. Actually, 57% of people said that's what they would do. Here's the issue. And this is one of the things, this is why I bring this up, saying that more help is coming. Simply because if student loan borrowers who currently have say a $400 or $500 payment, their debt goes away, okay? Now, if you only have $10,000 in student loan debt, your payment is not $400, okay? You're probably looking at $200, right? So if you only, let's say $150 to $200, let's say you're going to save about $200 in student loan debt every single month. If that happens, and then you take that $200 and you make a payment towards credit cards, and after 6 months or a year, your credit card is now paid off. You don't owe anything. Great, right? Now you don't have that $200 payment for student loans. You don't have that, say, $80 for your credit cards. Maybe you go and start paying off a car loan or a personal loan, whatever. That's actually going to help. Okay, it's called the snowball effect. You start with one debt. Usually start, most cases you start with the smallest debt, then you go to the second smallest, and the second smallest, and you keep adding those payments together until it makes one big payment, and you tackle the the big debt, right? Well, here's what we know. Just because you can pay off your student loan debt is gone, and you can take that money and pay off other debts, doesn't mean people will. 57% said they would. Not that they will, it's not a guarantee. 26% say they will save for other things outside of a home purchase. 10% say they're going to save for a home purchase. 19% of these borrowers are ages 18 to 29, and the other 4% are over the age of 45. 7% of borrowers said they would simply spend this money on other things. So that's the interesting part, is help is potentially coming. Biden has a new plan, but does this plan actually pass? As of right now, Democrats have to work with Republicans, or else this would never fly. So we will see what happens moving forward, but as we get more information, I promise I will fill you in on all the latest news and updates. All you gotta do is click that subscribe button so you never miss an update, and I will see you guys on the next one.